Hello, fellow traders. 'Tis I, the Rumpled One. It's Wednesday, August 29th, the year 2018. Let's talk trading indicators. Dang it, I hit down below here. I was about 5 minutes into the talk. Now I got to see if I can remember what I said and do it all again. Indicators. Why I picked this topic today. I've gotten emails and messages asking me about indicators in particular, in general, which one to use, etc., etc. But first off, why is it traders use indicators? Well, some use traders use indicators, probably most traders use indicators to make their life easier. But what do we mean by easier? I use certain indicators so I don't have to use the charting tools to plot the horizontal lines that I like to look at. I wouldn't want to have to sit there on all these different charts and every day plot the open, high, low, close, midpoint of the previous um, bar. Let the computer do that. Let the indicator do that. It's simple, but I know why I'm putting those lines there. I know how those lines were determined. I know just everything about those lines. The indicator just does it for me, so it saves me time. But some people use indicators because they really don't know that much about trading, and they got some email, and this indicator promised that, hey, this is the super scalper indicator. I just saw one last night. I can't remember the exact name, but use this indicator. It's going to get you, hundreds of pips. Best scalping indicator out there, right? Have to laugh. Point being is that if you're using an indicator because you have a deficiency or you don't know how to do something, you're doing yourself a disservice. You shouldn't use a tool unless you're, you know, really familiar with that tool, or if you're just learning that tool for the first time, you need to practice with it before you put it into play. I mean, it's kind of like a gun. You don't just buy a gun and start shooting at things. No, you got to learn about that gun, how to clean it, how to assemble, disassemble, how to make sure what to do when it jams. How to and then practice shooting with it, because if you get in a real situation, you want to know everything you can about that tool. In this case, it would have been a gun. But back to trading, if you have an indicator that does money management for you and risk management and calculate your position size and stop loss, you need to know why it's doing it. You need to know, is it actually doing what it should be doing? So once again, for example, here, I've got my indicator that's giving me the high, close, midpoint, open, and low of the previous bar, in this case, the monthly bar. And you can see here, we're heading into that upper wick zone of the yen. It's popped up about, what, 70 some pips from yesterday? I think we were like at 111.07 when we were watching this chart yesterday. So strong move. You see, out of that lower wick zone, heading towards and into that upper wick zone. Or I don't know if it quite made it to the upper wick zone today or not. And we look at the weekly, yeah, I've got, my dashboard, but, these things are simple. We know what the price is. We know what the spread is, right? Close minus open here. We've got it up here too on the magnified market price indicator. And high minus close, close minus low. Simple calculations, but it tells me, I call this my price GPS. I know where price is in relation to these other levels. Simple. And once again, we busted through the upper wick zone of the week. And daily, we broke through the daily high and upper wick zone here. And you can see here we have got some movement, especially on the pound pairs. Wow, 348 pips. The beast isn't the beast today, but we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 pairs over 100 in range. And you can see here, close to open, we've had some fantastic movement off of that opening price level. And you can see here, buy zone, right here, we had a long trigger. But you see here, we hit that pivot point, but the pivot point was so close to the open, it's almost like no big deal. But once again, we hit this, and if you use open as a stop loss, you got stopped out here. But right here, we had a trigger, and the rest is history, right? And looking at the rat zone, you can see we're in the upper or red rat zone here. So we're looking to find a short opportunity. Got a turn trade going. Price is moving up. And we want to look to see if it cracks that level in this hour. And once again, we took out the pivot and boom. Now there's a weekly R1 is right here. I was thinking we'd hit the weekly pivot. Maybe that'll get hit sometime next week. Maybe even this week. You never know. And you can see here we took out the pivot. There's that open pivot. Now we're 137 pips away from it. Might take a week or so, or that might be a missed pivot for the rest of the year. Don't know. We can find out. Stay tuned, right? And here we go. Once again, price action. One ball at the top, red at the line, profit. One ball at the bottom, green at the line, profit. Three ball at the top, looking for a red at the line, and then profit. And once again, looking at the H1 candle color, trading at those lines. And here we've got the wick zone. And I say it every day, price doesn't like staying in the wick zone. And those of you using the wick zones and profiting, you know it to be true. And we got the holo set up. Not much there. If we drop down to M5, tells the story. We had the open, you put in that high, cross below that midpoint there. Oh no, that's a monthly open. That's right, this is holo. So there's the monthly open right there, up and down. Inventory reduction bars. I don't know why I always point to IRB. I know what it means, but for some strange reason, I just always put the cursor over there when I say it. Here we go. We had a IRB placed here. There was profit to be had. You can see here we put an IRB for the short. Hasn't been hit. There was a long here and here, and then there was one there, and you can see those all paid off handsomely. Like I said, sometimes you just look for a handful of pips. In this case, if you hung in there, you were rewarded. And here we go. You can see here that midpoint. Why I like the midpoint dots. It came right back to the midpoint and then stopped. Using the previous daily, weekly, monthly, open, high, low. Once again, just candle color at the line. You just do it. There's no thought really involved. You just take the trade, and if the market smiles upon you, you take the profit. And once again, you can see here, opening above these midpoints can prove to be an indication that price is going to continue to go up, but it's not a guarantee. But it's just something I like to use. You don't have to use it if you don't want to, but I like to use it. Oh, and if you're wondering, I know I always forget to do this. The mid dots indicator, I've got a whole bunch of things I added to it. First, it was just for previous mid and current mid, but now I've got targets in there. You can use it to show the pivots or the quarter points too. You can show the central pivot range as a dot. You can show the last red-green candle, and you can show previous high-low, all added to the same indicator. Kind of got carried away. But I like to use the dots sometimes rather than lines, because lines clog up the chart. If you just kind of want to see the pattern, the dots help. Yeah, seeing spots, right? And you can see here, we haven't had much. Price is just waffling about 3 pips here. Not much movement at the moment, even though we now are in selling here. We have all the price moving up, so there's probably going to be some retracement. I would say, you see this big candle here. I know I had the big candle indicator. I haven't had a chance to work on it. Been busy with other stuff, as you guys know. But I would look for price to retrace to, let's see, what do we've got? Open 111.44. So I think price is going to hit this level sometime. Maybe not today, but I believe this big candle price is going to return down to that level. That's my prediction. Okay. And once again, we saw that. And Einstein line, here we go. When I opened started this up, you can see there was a couple triggers there, not much, and then there was a trigger here, so maybe you took a loss there, you made it up with all this action here, then you see price came up, you waffled, price came up, maybe you said, okay, since it went above and then crossed below this little high point there, I'm just going to take that little teeny profit. Ditto down here with the shorts, and another short, same thing here, right there. This could have resulted in a scratch trade, or should have, same here. And then finally, you get some movement right here, one final touch, and then boom, right? As John Madden would say, boom. Went the wrong way there. So, fellow traders, indicators, yeah, I can actually say it's not what indicators you use, it's how you use it. And that's the truth. Horizontal lines can be used in many different ways. So remember, not what you trade, it's how you trade it. Let's get out there and drain the banks.